Hey everybody, welcome to Geek Addicts.
Hello and welcome to Geek Addicts, the pop culture podcast where we exchange notebooks with each other. How's it going, Bill? My name's Matt. What's up?
I'm very tired.
Yeah, me too.
More so than usual.
Well, see, I thought my morning was going to go way different, but then I just spent the last 2 hours trying to switch my wife's phone to a new phone. And goddamn, it just hasn't gotten any easier with time, has it?
No, if anything, it's probably gotten harder.
It's ridiculous, man. And normally we would just go to like a store and just have them do it, because that's just the easiest way to do it. They do it for free anyway, so fuck it. But we have Metro PCS, and fucking the only store we had shut down. The closest one is in like Brockton.
Yay.
Yeah, exactly. And we weren't trying to do all that, but now I feel like it would have honestly saved time if we had just done that.
Probably. I mean,
So,
I fell asleep on the couch last night and my phone fucking updated, I guess, while I was asleep. So I turned it on. It was like, oh, here's your new Apple iOS. I'm like, great. It just updated like a month ago and it's already fucking different again.
For real.
Ugh.
But yeah, and I wasn't even able to do it in the time that I had. It's like I realized what time it was. Like, shit, I gotta fucking get everything ready for the podcast, and I just gotta put this down for later. But I went through the whole process, and I thought I got to a point where I was good. Like the number was gonna switch over, and I could worry about all like the photos and apps and stuff afterwards. But as soon as I like put in all the information to like set it up online, and I hit the continue button, it just said, "Oh, we're having technical difficulties."
I think
Okay.
there's technical difficulties going like across a lot of places right now because I had like a bunch of websites just weren't loading right.
I don't know. It's just
Trying to get
stupid, man.
trying to get a StreamYards up to record this was a pain in the ass today. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but
I don't know. But it's very annoying to me. Very annoying.
Yeah. I went to a concert a couple days ago. That's why we're recording super late into the day.
How did that go?
Oh, the show was great. But going to Boston sucks.
Yeah, Boston is not the most user-friendly city out there. We'll say that.
Honestly, using a GPS in Boston is infuriating. Honestly, I'd be less angry if like the second you got to Boston, your GPS literally just came up with a screen that said you're on your own, bud.
Pretty much.
I'd be like,
Boston's like one of the only places I've been to where you could take like you could just walk down a street and take 4 left turns and end up on a different street than you started on.
oh yeah. I mean, it's like I love that like the meme of like maps where it's like every city in fucking America for the most part. It's like this nice grid that makes sense. And then you go to Boston and it just says the caption that says because fuck you, America.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
Thankfully it was in the garden, so like once we got there, like we could just like park and then didn't have to leave. I met one of the band.
I don't like going to Boston unless I'm taking the train.
Yeah, the train makes it much easier. Driving is absolutely miserable. We got to meet 3 Days Grace. That was interesting.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they're tall. Yeah. And you wait in line because you get to shake their hands and like say hi and then take a photo. But like, of course, the second you get there, you're like, fuck, they're here. What do I do?
Yeah, I don't know what to do with my hands.
Well, that's basically like it turned into a business meeting where I was like, hello, nice to meet you. Hi, nice to meet you. Hi, photo. Okay, cool. Bye. And I was just like, great. Yeah, that was interesting. Good show though. Saw Seven Dust, 3 Days of Grace, and Disturbed. very loud. I was right at the front of the stage, which was
Mhm.
insane. I've never done that before. My arm still hurts from fucking like doing metal horns and fist bumping all night,
Yeah, that'll happen.
and I couldn't walk for like an hour after because standing on that fucking quote unquote padded floor was not fun.
I can imagine.
And then I had to. We did the concert didn't end until like 11 at night, and then I still had to drive home. I don't think I got home till like 1 in the morning.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yesterday I was like barely functioning, and then I had to get my taxes done. That was fun. And then, but I'm actually getting a decent return this year, so that'll be nice.
There you go.
I got
There
like
you go.
$100 last year, so
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
So yeah, how's your week gone aside from that?
The week was pretty uneventful. Did a bunch of podcasts like usual. I'm still kind of on an anime break aside from ongoings just because I needed it after
Yeah,
Attack on Titan.
that's fair.
Although Alex is telling me I have to watch the junior high version now.
I watched it just for an extra feather in my cap for when we do that episode.
Yeah, I'll probably get around to
And
it.
honestly, it's like surprising how much they reference from like later stuff, especially considering that the junior high show came out before season 2 was even out. So they
Yeah,
were just like pulling information from the manga, but they wouldn't like outright say anything that would spoil it. But like if you know, you know.
well, because the story had to have been planned out like the entire way. Like,
Oh, it was for sure. I'm pretty sure he had the entire thing mapped out before he even started drawing.
hmm. Yeah. Other than that, though, watched all the ongoings. Another My Happy Marriage. That's getting close to being done, season 2. So
Mhm. Yeah, that and
there.
solo leveling are both getting pretty close.
Solo Leveling still got a bit. The most recent episode of Solo Leveling, right in the feels. So that'll be
I haven't watched it yet.
okay.
Didn't get the
Yeah,
chance.
all I'll say is right in the feels. Um,
Well, I know he finished conquering the demon castle, so I know what's next. But
yeah, I won't spoil anything, but all I'll say is get the tissues ready because it is an emotional episode.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, I did. I went to the library yesterday because I was curious of what they have, and because I had totally forgotten they had a teen section, so I was like, oh, that's probably where they're hiding all the fucking anime and shit. They didn't really have anything for like DVDs. I was kind of hoping they would have some stuff, but they have a surprisingly decent manga selection. Like they have
wow.
like the first 8 volumes of Solo Leveling. Um, they had a I didn't see the first few volumes. I don't know if they were just taken out or whatever, but they had like I'm pretty sure up to date on Chainsaw Man. Like they had a bunch of stuff.
Nice.
So I might have to start pulling from there
Hmm.
for new manga reads and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't watched the newest Solo Leveling that just came out, and I don't know why I just forgot to watch the new My Happy Marriage from last week. So I'm
Because
gonna add it
last
to.
week's episode was such a fucking gut punch, and then this
I,
week's
I
was
just I don't know how I feel about it. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about this show.
I'd watch the next episode. It does things start happening. That's all I'll say.
Well, yeah. Well, it's I don't know. I felt like the show was more interesting when it was more about her like trying to break out of her shell, and now it's like now it's like oh hey it's a romance, but we're also gonna try and make it like super shonen out of nowhere, and it's just like I don't know how I feel about the mixture. You know what I mean?
Watch the next episode. That's all I'll say. Um,
Okay,
I don't want to spoil
fair enough.
anything. Um,
Um, speaking of episodes, I listened to the last GNC.
oh yeah,
you bastards.
that was 100% Alex's idea. I will say. Um, yeah, I forgot that was we planned that at the end of the episode that came out.
There was like 2 minutes left of the episode. She was like, can I just ambush him?"
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, now we can technically say that Alex has been on an episode of Geek Addicts.
She has for like 3 minutes.
Yep.
You know what the best part is though? Like she had said, she still hasn't watched anything from the list because she's got like 3 other ongoings. Plus,
Hmm.
One Piece just officially caught up with the sub. So she's gonna have to binge all the stuff she hasn't watched yet.
Gotcha.
But I'm
That's
pretty sure
interesting. I don't think the One Piece dub has been caught up since like ever.
they finally did, because I guess, well, the main series went on hiatus for a bit. And Funny's been just like, well, Crunchyroll has been just like banging through it, like to
Hmm.
get caught up, because I mean, most people know they had a late start because they had to pick up where Four Kids left it burning in the dust.
Yeah. um.
Ugh.
Yeah. Aside from that, I'm still super into where Doctor Stone is going right now.
Mm.
I believe Kenshin season 2 is almost done. Um, they only just started like the big like Kyoto Fire plan.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't remember if it happened the same way or not. Like, it's been a while since I watched the '90s version, and I never got that far in the manga. So I'm like, I can't remember if that actually was like part of it, but
I don't know.
because like the order of the events seems different to me, and I don't know if I'm just remembering wrong, if it's been too long, but because they're like already at the ship.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm confused. I guess I'll just have to see where it goes.
Yeah. Oh, Sakamoto Days. One more episode next Saturday, so that'll be done.
Oh, cool.
Um, that is that's it. It's been a fun one. I will say, great dub.
How many was it? 12 episodes?
11.
11. Oh, really?
Yeah, episode
That's a
10
weird
came
number.
out yesterday, so they're next week.
It's a weird number for a season. Usually it's
Yeah,
12 or
that's
13.
I've seen a lot of 10 episode seasons lately too. Like they've been just kind of
Well, that I
shortening them.
that I feel like is like a Netflix thing. Like
Hmm.
Netflix likes to do 10 episodes.
I think I've noticed too. They're trying to like cut the seasons off with arcs. So like sometimes an arc will just end at like a weird number like that.
That makes sense. But yeah, when that wraps up, I'll probably binge through it.
It's
At
quick.
this point, at this point, with my happy marriage and solo leveling gonna be ending soonish, and Kenshin's almost there too. So I'm gonna be losing a lot of I think the only ongoings I'm still gonna have left after that is
Pocket Theory Diaries.
yeah, Pocket Diaries and Doctor Stone, which are both gonna be in the 20s, I believe.
A Pocket Theory is like 25 ish, I think. So it's
Hmm.
that one will be going. Although it's probably going to have a break in the middle, like they did last in season one. So there'll probably be a bit of a gap between the two parts. But
I didn't even know season 1 did that.
yeah, it was the same thing. Like they did the first half, then they took a break for a bit, and I think they did the second half.
Hmm. Oh, and I did talk to our mutual friend. I'll keep it a secret just in case it doesn't end up working out. But I talked to our mutual friend, and it seems like we are a go for next week as long as you're okay with recording around 8 on Saturday.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Cool. Still haven't worked out the details of like what it's going to be, but it's happening. So
Okay,
that's all.
sounds good. Um, did anything else crazy happen? Um, not really.
um,
Not that
you're
not in my world.
doing any gaming at all, or
Not really, because I've been
no?
so tired. Um,
I've been kind of flip flopping, but well, I started 2 games, right? One of them was a very short game, but I only kind of just started it and I haven't continued it in a little bit. I'm gonna because it's a quick, easy game, but it was a Rugrat Search for Reptar.
oh, I hate that game so much.
Well, it was the highest rated Rugrats game on PS1 on Vimslayer, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll play it. It was only like a 3-hour playtime, so I was like,
I don't even. I don't agree with that. The Paris Rugrats in Paris game was better. I'll fight people on that.
well, maybe I'll play that one next. I don't know. Well, I'll probably give it some time either way between them. That's what I'm doing with the
Well,
Spider-Man games.
you're replacing, basically the way I describe it is you're going from a turd to vomit, I guess. So
Um, but yeah, I've been kind of playing around with that, and then I've also been playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories, which I mentioned off air.
That game functions, but I hate that game too.
Yeah, I like and hate it in the same way that I like and hate Duelist of the Roses.
Duelist of the Roses is at least like fundamentally interesting. Um, Forbidden Memories is just like it's the game, but the rules don't make any. There are no rules. It's just kind of a free for all, and the story is so fucking weird. I kind of like the
Yeah.
story, but at the same time, it's like what is this?
Well, this is before we really had any idea of like, because I mean, even the looking at the design of the Millennium Rod, like they obviously
Yeah.
hadn't gone very far in the series because they didn't know what it was supposed to look like.
It's so colorful. It honestly looks more like a rod than the actual Millennium Rod does.
That's kind of what I like about like these random like early Yu-Gi-Oh video games is because they happen so early in the series life cycle that like not a lot was revealed, so they just kind of have to go crazy with like making up their own story for it.
The goddamn difficulty spike with that game, though, if you're playing the story mode, is depending on which way you take the story, because you can take the story multiple ways. You go from like Taya to Joey or whatever his name is, Jono, I think. And then it immediately goes to freaking Kaiba, and the difficulty spike there is like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, luckily it has like the free duel out. If you go to like the main title screen, you could do the free duels and you could just grind for cards. But
Yeah.
I don't like the way the password system works here though, because you need star chips to get the ones that, because you know, in a lot of video games where you could punch in the 8-digit number that's at the bottom of like the actual physical cards, and you could just get like a Red Eyes or Dark Magician, whatever. Tons of games have done that. This one you have to have star chips, and you can get a maximum of 6 star chips per duel.
Yeah, this one's like straight up. Oh, you want a Red Eyes? Well, that'll be 5,000 star chips. Have fun. It's like great.
I'm pretty sure it's worse than that, actually.
Yeah, that was a wild guess. I know it was fucking a ridiculous. Like when I saw
I tried putting one in for a Dark Magician, and it was like 9,999. Like
some stupid shit. Like I'm like, yeah, Game Shark, my friend. If it even has codes, who knows if it does? But
it has to. It has to. All games back then had something. A game like that definitely has a code for like infinite star chips or something.
It's the only way you can play that game, I swear, because it's so friggin' ridiculous. But
I mean, I'm getting there on it. I finally got a fucking dragon, which like you can't fucking do anything without dragons.
Yeah,
that's how you get all the good fusions.
Fuse everything.
Yeah. But some things don't really get you like any fusions at all, like machines.
Yeah, you can't really fuse matter with machines. It doesn't really work.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been a good, just kind of like time killing game. You know, it's just like, oh, I'm just gonna do a couple duels. You know.
Yeah, it's not my least favorite Yu-Gi-Oh game, but it's definitely one of the ones that you go back to and you're like, oh, this was a point in time.
Yeah,
this came out
for sure. I definitely would prefer to play Duels of the Roses just because it is more interesting. With like the whole
like that's
like the whole style of combat is completely changed. Yeah, it turns into like a part card game, part tactics.
Yeah, strategy tactics game. And then the third game in that series, Falsebound Kingdom, just says, fuck the card game. Let's just make it an RPG for no reason.
What was that on?
Falsebound Kingdom was only on GameCube. It was like the weirdest thing. Like weird. You went from PlayStation to PS2 to GameCube. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Forbidden Memories is still less bullshit though than Reshift of Destruction. Fuck that game so much.
I might try it at some point just to say I did it.
Like if you thought Forbidden Memories,
if I save scum it should be fine.
Yeah, if you thought Forbidden Memories had bizarre rules, Reshift of Destruction has like rules that are straight up like they're designed just to like fuck with you. I swear.
I feel like that's been a pattern with the Yu-Gi-Oh games. It's just like, oh, this game was way too easy. Let's make the sequel balls hard for no reason. And then they'll also do it the reverse. Like, oh, this first one was super hard. Let's just make the next one like obscenely easy. Like,
well, I mean, like the only thing that's really good about Reshift of Destruction is the story, because the story is essentially an alternate take on rather than doing Waking the Dragons, they make up this original story that takes place after Battle City, where it's like Kaiba comes back and he's like an evil bastard. So, pretty good story though.
Yeah. But yeah, aside from that, I've just been kind of chilling, man.
Yeah, it's that time of year. We're getting close to summer. All spring.
Today is fucking super warm. It's windy as shit, but it's super warm.
It's like cold here, but it's also like super rainy and dank. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, I forgot to do this last week, but I have a coworker who was being cross trained in my area, and he was telling me all about this. He has a YouTube show where he does streams of like D&D campaigns and stuff like that, and he also does like original animations for well, he does them. Not original anime. He like basically takes like he'll take like old sprite video games and like add animations to them and do like voice acting and stuff like that for it. Right now he's doing a project with Chrono Trigger. But I wanted to shout him out real quick. That his YouTube channel is Rubble Goblins, and his D&D campaign is the Mutant Epoch.
Oh, cool.
So just wanted to shout that out real quick because I thought that was interesting.
Nice. But yeah, I guess that means now it's time for Dima time.
Mm-hmm.
Things are happening again.
Indeed.
So we're now on episode 9 of 20.
Yeah, we kind of got like a 3-act thing with this episode. And it was funny too because each act was shorter than the last. So it was like the first act was like 10 minutes, the second act was like 7, the third act was like 3. But
I will say the opening setup to this one was so fucking predictable.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, I mean, they've done this kind of thing before, so
yeah. They're staying in a sketchy hotel, and Goku leaves the bag unattended. Wonder what's gonna happen here.
Well, I love like how it starts is like because I'm just decided like, oh, we're gonna go sleep at a hotel, and she shoves like this Pansy shoves this like bear hat on Goku's head to like hide his hair. And almost immediately after they walk in, he takes it off and is instantly recognized.
See, that just reminded me of the scene in Super where he's like working as a security guard and like Chi-Chi has him all like slicked back, and then he like just like flexes and rips the suit and he's just like, fuck this, and just leaves. And I'm like, yeah, that's what that reminded me of this.
And then we go through another whole like Goku doesn't bathe situation where Pansy takes a bath and she's like, all right, Goku, you're up. He's like, I don't really do that. And then she calls him a dingus.
Yeah, dingus. That was like a word I was like, I never expected to it was like, that's a word I never expected to hear in a Dragon Ball dub, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things. The way it happens too is I think it was like I only came with the clothes I'm wearing. And she's like, oh, you can wear some of mine instead. And he goes, I don't know how I feel about wearing panties.
Yeah. And she's like, no, you fucking dingus. I was like, yep, let's go. I swear to God, Goku like regresses like into, I guess he's younger now, so I guess that makes sense, but
yeah, I mean, technically he does have an adolescent brain at the moment, so
yeah, it's just sometimes
I'm like, you can make an argument. It makes a little bit more sense that it doesn't Super, at least.
When did the no bathing thing happen? Because I swear to God, he bathed in Z multiple times.
I mean, that was a thing like early OG Dragon Ball, like episode 2 or 3. Because Bulma had to like physically give him a bath because he's like, oh, I've never done that.
Right, that's true. Yeah, it's just weird that like it's like they're bringing that up again now. I'm like, I don't think he just forget that he spent like all these years as an adult.
I mean, he
Dragon
definitely
Ball.
does take baths because we've seen him. I mean, he takes a bath with Goten and Trunks at the end of Z.
Yeah, and multiple times, like when he was at home, like because they had the bathtub
because
outside the house.
he's like, like a burn barrel. He like takes baths in burn barrels outside. He's got like a fire underneath the barrel and just chills.
Yeah, he just cooks himself because he can't.
Pretty much. Oh, and there was that one time he hung out in the hot springs at Princess Snake's place.
Yeah, yeah. So that line really confused me when I heard it. I was just like, okay.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of those scenes were filler anime scenes. Because if I'm really racking my brain, I think the only bath we see him take in the manga is that first one, when Bulma freaks out about his tail and shit.
Dragon Ball. Anyways,
but it's been a while since I read the manga, so I can't say for sure. But yeah, so we go through that whole bit, and they're just like, all right, we should get some sleep. Like, let's take turns, like, keeping watch. And Goku's like, no, I'll be fine. I got plenty of sleep on the plane. I'll just stay up. You guys sleep. And predictably, he still falls asleep.
Yeah, almost immediately.
Oh wait, that happened after the.
Oh yeah. So the thieves, the thieves steal the ball before that, and it's pretty much like a case where like they steal it and run off, and they're like, "Yay, the perfect crime!" And then Goku like immediately finds them.
Yep. And I feel like he struggled a little bit more than he should have to get it back.
I don't think he was trying very hard. I think he was just kind of like, give it back. And they're like, no. And he's like, please. He's like, all right, fine. I guess I'll do this the hard way.
Oh, the thieves, like one of them was like a pterodactyl man. And the other one was like, he was like a blue Majin, but he was also a werewolf. You could just shift into werewolf form.
I like how the pterodactyl one tries to fly away with it too. And then like Goku just flies up. He's like, can I please have that back? And the guy's like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, they go through that whole bit. We go through the whole Goku falling asleep when he was supposed to be on watch bit, which very predictable. I don't think anybody thought that he was actually going to be awake that whole time. But it was fine because nothing happened. And then,
and then they finally meet up with the other gang who have been struggling to get here this whole time.
Yes, but we get another beat of, oh no, somebody stole our plane. Only this time it's Vegeta's group that had that plane stolen. Because Vegeta also beat up a bunch of random people while trying to have his dinner.
See, Vegeta, it's more expected, if you're anything.
I mean, to be fair, in Vegeta's case, that dude threw that punch first. Like,
true.
Vegeta did not hit first here. Although I will say that first guy who throws a shot at him, I'm pretty sure Vegeta punched him in the dick.
That wouldn't surprise me.
That's the way it looked. Because I watched this episode a few times. Like I watched it last week when it came out, and then I also watched it today, and then also when it came out originally in Japanese. And every single time I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure he just punched him right in the crotch.
One thing I did find funny too is like I love the little like guide that they have in their group.
Oh, Hybus.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, he's pretty great. You want to play zombie game?
Yeah. And like he's like, all right, I guess I'll eat bag of chips while you guys go find the car.
Yep.
Also, I love the fact that when Goku and Party like are like, all right, we gotta go. It's like, oh yeah, you guys can't come with us. There's not enough room in the car. Bye.
Yeah. I love the little sideways remark Piccolo makes where he's just like, if we had brought Kabito instead, we could have just teleported. And Bulma gives him like the death stare.
Yeah. I will say...
we also had Bulma freak out a little bit over Hybus's belt.
Yeah, that was cool. I will say they definitely get a bit more in the next episode that I found. Their scene in the next episode is probably more entertaining. This one's more just kind of like a gag on the fact that it's like they're like always constantly like one step behind what Goku's doing. Yep.
They're just like, yeah, well, we don't have room, so you guys can catch up with us again later.
I love how they're like, you don't need your fucking luggage. Give us room. And they're like, well, no, bye.
Yeah, well, I think what Glorio says is, I think we need our rations and our tent more than we need you. Which is savage.
The only other thing that really happens in this episode is we get some more demon shenanigans with Marba, I think is her name.
Yes.
And they create a new Majin Buu, basically.
Majin Ku. How do you feel about Majin Ku's design?
It's very Toriyama. He's green now.
But he's part Cyberman.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's got like a part Kid Buu, part Cyberman type of look.
See, my whole thing with this is I'm just like I'm sensing a pattern here, because it's like we had Frieza come back, and then we had a new Cell, and now we're getting a new Buu.
I like the new Buu. The new Buu is cool. Oh yeah, we got a new Broly too.
Yeah. We still got to see what this new Buu does, but for now, at least it looks like it's going to be an interesting take. Where, I mean, you've seen the show, so you probably know more in advance, but it looks like it's actually going to listen to its creator.
Yeah, it can communicate verbally, so that's something for sure.
Yeah, so we'll wait
also just the casual reveal that Cybermen are actually from the demon realm, and we sell them to outsiders, and that's why I don't have that many left. So now we know where the Saiyans got the Cybermen. They weren't developed by them. They just bought them from the demon realm.
You know what this means now, though? It means rather than saying Toriyama forgot, our new excuse can just be it came from the demon world.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everything that doesn't make sense in Dragon Ball, you can just be like, oh, demon world.
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of wild how much can be waved away by Demon World now.
It's almost like Toriyama was like, he's like, this will explain everything, so that they can't...
I think his name is Akio Ioku, one of the main showrunners for Daima.
Mm-hmm.
He pretty much blatantly said in an interview recently that this is a continuation of Z as opposed to like a sequel the way Super was. So this is like, well, no, it's more of a continuation of the manga. So this is like actually like if you're gonna say these are the 3 sequel shows, which one's the canon one? Daima's the one.
I'm not sure how everyone's gonna feel about that.
I guess it depends on the person, because I've seen a lot of hate for Daima online.
Well, I think it's just because so many people got invested in Super.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny because before Daima happened, everyone was bitching about Super.
Well, that's how it works.
Yeah. But everyone still loves to dump on GT, though.
To be fair, though, GT has a lot of fuel for that.
I mean, you can make an argument for all 3 series that there's ups and downs for all 3 of them.
True. The thing about GT is, for the most part, there's only like a handful of ideas in that people say they would have liked to be preserved, but for the most part, most people are okay with it not being canon.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. But yeah, so yeah, we get Majin Ku, and he's gonna go fight Tamagami number 1, while all of our heroes are on their way to go fight Tamagami number 2.
Yes. Yeah. Plot's happening finally. The next episode, I will say, I watched yesterday, and I'm looking forward to talking about that one.
Yeah.
But
well, based on the idea we had for next week's episode, we might have to skip over again and do a double the following week.
True.
So
we'll see.
But I think that will work out with the episodes coming up. So
fair. Alrighty. Well, that was Daima Time. Another wonderful iteration of that. Yeah, so now on to our topic for this week. We're doing another manga retrospective, or continue manga retrospective review. Yeah, retrospective was probably the right word. I'm tired.
Some sort of word.
It's a revisit for you, not so much for me. That's all I will say.
I have read and watched it all before. Yes.
So we're covering the next section of Death Note. We covered in this episode, we are covering volumes 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm. I got my copy right here because I forgot to take notes, so I'm just gonna flip through it.
I have mine upstairs. I've got the singles, but I will say you're probably gonna have to carry this one again, like the last one, because as while I did read it, Death Note is hard to comprehend.
It's dense. It's very dense. In a way that a lot of other, like, I mean, you can make an argument like, oh, Full Metal is dense. Oh, Attack on Titan is dense, but Death Note is very wordy. There's not a whole lot of physical stuff going on. It's mostly monologues and inner monologues, and I'm thinking around what you're thinking around,
Well,
like
it's
lots of
also
that kind of stuff.
it's interesting too, considering it's a we had mentioned earlier, it's one of those manga where it's written by a writer, but it has a separate artist, so the writer can really just go to town and let the artist handle everything else after that.
Yeah, and it also works in the reverse way where the artist themselves, like freaking Obata, his art is insane.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the first things I want to say here is because like I'm becoming like with all these manga reviews we've been doing and how much anime I've been watching and everything else, like it just gives me a more of an appreciation for this series because this is one of the few mangas and animes that I've read where like I mean we talked before about how anime faces are pretty much copy paste, like you pretty much judge by who somebody is based on the way their hair looks or the way they're dressed.
Hmm.
Not the case in Death Note. Everyone has a very distinct
Look.
design, like for facial features and clothing. Like it's all very like, you can't confuse two characters.
Yeah. And I will say too, the weirdest part about these two volumes is a lot of stuff happens, but at the same time, it really compared to the first two arc like volumes, not a lot of progression goes on here. We get a lot of dense stuff thrown at us,
Mm-hmm.
but there wasn't a crazy jump like I thought the first two had. And I'm assuming that's because it's
I
building up the
mean,
stuff.
I mean, it kind of does. Like it's definitely building up, like especially where it leaves off at the end.
Well, that was the thing
Um,
with these two volumes. We really the way I kind of felt while reading this was the first volume 3 was very focused on L, and him actually interacting with light. Um, and then volume 4 was introducing Misa is her name, right?
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, because
yeah,
you can kind of break up these two volumes into like little mini arcs. Like the first one we get is the whole camera search, the whole like he's being he was had cameras and bugs placed all over his house, and you know he's being spied on. But instantly, but before he even like confirmed, like he was like, yeah, there's all this shit in my house. So he convinces the way we left off last time is he convinced Ryuk to go and look for all the cameras and bugs to figure out where they all are. And he does his whole potato chip thing.
hmm,
It's not nearly as dramatic in this, but
yeah.
um,
I did find it
but it,
amusing Ryu climbing into his fucking air conditioner, like, "There's a camera in here." And I'm just like,
yep,
"Yep, there sure is."
yep. And then who were the thing when he first goes in there and he just whips out these pornos and he's just flipping through them.
Yeah, I remember turning
And
the
he's just
page out. I was like, "Oh, we're going here,
just
I guess."
making a huge show of being like, look at me, I'm a teenager looking at pornography.
Yeah, I love
Like,
how it's like so nonchalant. Like what teenager just opens up porn and just stares at it like that? Like,
yeah,
really?
no.
Like, that's not how it
If you wanted it to
works.
be real accurate, you should have started fapping. That's what you should have done.
They want it to be real accurate. This would turn into a hentai really fast.
Yeah, no shit. Well, there's a couple points where it easily could have. Um,
I I will say one thing I really like about this series that I find interesting is it's another case of it's interesting coming right off of watching Attack on Titan. There's like no heroes in this series, which is very fun.
I mean, you can make arguments. I mean, in a lot of ways, I feel like L is supposed to be the hero.
Well, that what I mean is like there's no you're not supposed to root for the heroes, and then the people who are the heroes, even them, they're kind of gray.
Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, Light is the main character, definitely. But I feel
Yeah,
like L is like the hero who's supposed to like kind of rise above, you know.
yeah. Light is, I think we had mentioned it in the previous episode. Light is just straight up like villain protagonist.
Oh, for sure. But and especially with that first like volume or two where you really kind of start to see him like because now he's got the shifty eyes constantly. You know, at the beginning, he had kind of like the more rounded features, like he still had that innocence about him, you know.
Mm.
And then as the series progresses, like all of a sudden, like now he's just super serious, shifty eyed, like I'm always calculating.
If
You know?
anything, like too, he comes off as super annoyed at the fact that like it's like great now my shit's even harder to do now.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, like they go through the whole thing. They decide to take all the cameras out because he does the potato chip trick. And then Light's like, okay, I'm off to go and apply for college or whatever. And he's taking his tests, and fucking who's sitting behind him in the test but L?
Yeah, I saw. I'm like, oh, cool.
Which, you know, I mean, I have to imagine, I have to wonder, like, because you watched the series a long time ago, correct?
It's been a very long time, so I have like not a ton of memory of it. That's actually
So in a
on my
way,
watch list coming up pretty soon.
so you've I mean, even though you've technically seen the show, you're pretty much coming into this blind. Like all these twists and turns are relatively fresh for you.
Yeah, like legit. Remember watching it, but I don't remember anything about it. It was so long ago, and I didn't pay attention back then.
Gotcha. So I have to wonder, like, how you feel about like a lot of the, especially the whole like L making direct contact with Light, kind of like forming a relationship with him. What happened?
I was like, watching it,
Oh,
and I'm just, oh, what's going on?
sorry, my computer is being weird. It just like shifted back to Discord for some reason.
Oh,
I thought I
yeah.
lost you.
Now watching it, reading it, I'm when the second L appeared in the classroom, I'm like, oh, he's going direct. Like he's not even being subtle about it at this point.
Yeah.
Because I like the fact that it's very clearly obvious they both are aware, but like they both don't know how to fucking approach it, so they're kind of just being a nuisance to each other the entire time.
Oh, extremely. I mean, even like I love the contrast between them because they both got perfect scores in the entrance exams. So they are like co-valedictorians, like doing the opening speech, and then just like look at this picture of just the two of them walking up to the stage. Like there's such a contrast between the two, but like they're literally two sides of the same coin.
Well, I like how like L to me is like he's like that perfect representation of like the fucking shifty like conspiracy theorist, like the fucking sunken in eyes mess, hair mess constantly. The way he sits in the fucking desk, just like crouched on his like fucking feet.
Yeah.
I was like, what teacher would let a student take a test like that?
Well, he did get yelled at. That's actually why Light noticed him.
True.
But then like as they're finishing up their entrance ceremony speech, L just starts like running off with a bunch of like, oh, you're this person, you're this guy's son, you have this type of sense of justice and blah blah blah. He's just like, guess what? I'm L. And like Light is freaking out because at this point, like whether he is actually L or not, he can't fucking do anything to him because it would like all suspicion would immediately go to him.
Because isn't the whole thing like with L that like he doesn't know, he only knows his name is L, he doesn't know his full name.
Well, L isn't his name.
Right, yeah.
It's a like an alias.
Right.
But I love the whole bit where it's just like, oh, this guy's a fucking weirdo, probably got in from a scholarship, all other stuff. And then it gets picked up by this dope ass limo. And everyone's just like looking at him like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, like who is this crackhead running around? It's like, oh, what? It's just like no one understands.
But then like as soon as Light gets home after that encounter, he like loses his shit. Like this image right here of him just fucking like losing it.
Yeah, I remember that image.
He's just like,
I love when the art, like when the artist like he shifts the art to be like super detailed just for like a close-up scene, and then immediately cuts back to the normal style.
Well, he's like, oh, that's one of the things that I like about it being a separate artist and a separate writer, like because so much attention to detail is put into things like facial expressions, like the hair design, like the detail in the hair is one of the biggest things in this series that I really enjoy, because you don't generally see that much detail.
Yeah.
And even like the creases in the clothes, like it's so detailed. Oh yeah, then he just starts laughing his ass off after having his freak out, and he's like losing his mind at this point.
Yeah, Ryuka, I love that Ryuka's just a fucking internet troll, basically.
Oh, he is. I love it. I love how like some serious bullshit. This is why I'd never get away with it. If Ryuka's my Shinigami, I'd never get away with it, because I would just lose my shit. He'd start laughing, I'd start laughing. Like,
I love how the fact that like he's like this little like he's just like supposed to be like this like sort of like manifestation of the Death Note, and then like he's just a fucking asshole and doesn't give a shit.
Yep. So then L invites Light to have a tennis match, which I think the whole thing was like the way that it's framed. It seems like it's mostly a pretext just to get closer to him. But they're also like psychoanalyzing each other based on the tennis match.
Yeah, there's a lot of big brain writing going on here, and I'm just like, this is not a manga for like the people who like aren't like into like looking into this stuff, because I was like, the average person reading this is probably going to be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. But the weirdest thing is they're both like super on the nose with like everything. Yeah, and then L is just like, yeah, so by the way, you're also a suspect to the Kira case. Like, you're a person of interest. We're keeping an eye on you, just so you know.
Yeah.
Like, I love how just like casually he reveals this shit.
Yeah, it's surprising just like how like unsubtle L is at times, which I find very fun.
And also when you're actually like paying attention to them standing next to each other, like you realize that L's actually super tall. He's just because even when he's slunched over, he had Light at like the same height.
Yeah.
So like if he was standing up straight, he'd be a fucking big dude.
I think it's part of his whole just like way he makes people like unassuming of him.
Yeah, it's like the way he carries himself. All right. So that's kind of like, well, no, we get back to like they finish their tennis match, and then they go to like the little coffee shop, and they're still kind of doing the whole psychoanalyzing thing, but Al's asking his opinion on like different aspects of the Kira case, like Light's trying to confirm that it's actually L through like their conversations, and he shows him the notes left by the criminals that like spells out L, do you know gods of death love apples?
Yeah.
And that's part of the whole like test, because L like pulled out a fake fourth one to fuck with him. Trying to get his reaction with all this stuff. But ultimately they pretty much both just continuously confirm their own suspicions about each other. And then all of a sudden they get a phone call, and Light's dad had a heart attack.
Yeah, I was like, oh, good. Great.
Yep. So that's kind of like the end of the little like, L and Light friendship mini arc.
The whole image of them just sitting next to his dad at his bedside, the two of them, is like, this is such a weird scene out of context.
Yeah, it is, for sure. But this is where it's like confirmed, like Light's dad blatantly says like, yes, this is L. We've been calling him Ryuzaki. Blah, blah, blah. So I think this is the point where L like formally invites Light to join the investigation.
Yeah. Which is like a weird, like trying to get him even closer, because it's pretty much confirmed L pretty much thinks Light is Kira, right?
At this point, yeah, I'd say so. I mean, he's always kind of suspected ever since the Ray Penber stuff.
Yeah.
But even though he always says, like, it's pretty much confirmed. I'm pretty sure even the author has said, like, no, L is just a straight up liar. Because every time he says, oh, yes, I technically suspect you, but it's only like 5% max that you're actually Kira. But that's a straight up lie. He's lying. He's like dead set sure that he's right, and that's the guy. And he's not very shy about it. Like, even though he's always says like, "Oh, it's only 1%. Oh, it's only 5%." Like, he always comes back around to, "Oh, like light is Kira." It always comes back around to that one way or the other. Even to the point where like they're all sitting beside the bedside and they're talking about suspect profiles and stuff like that, and they're just like, "Oh, well, based on your description, Light, yeah, the most likely suspect would be your sister." And like, just trying to like poke the bear, kind of see how he reacts.
I like the sister's character because she's just sarcastic the entire time.
Yeah, for real. All right, so let's see. We get to the whole like they're leaving the hospital room. They basically say like, "Yeah, we'll be in touch. We'll figure this out, but I'm not going to help out until my dad's feeling better."
Yeah.
So this is the point where the like tabloids TV station starts getting the videotapes.
Yep.
And basically they got these videotapes from quote unquote Kira. And basically like on air proves like, yes, I am Kira. I killed these people. And is trying to like kind of strong arm L into like revealing himself so that they can kill him.
Yeah.
But we get our first task force death. Because one of the guys, Ukita, I believe, as soon as they saw what was going on the TV, he just kind of dipped out and was just like, "I'm gonna go and stop this." And he gets as far as the front door and just drops dead.
Yep. It's weird how like the Death Note is very not shown in this volume.
Yeah, it does kind of take a little bit of a back seat here. So yeah, he drops dead, and that's when Elle's kind of like, "Oh fuck!" Like, apparently a name and a face isn't all that's needed. Maybe it is just a face, because there was no reason for them to know that. So like everyone's freaking out, like, "Oh, how do we stop this? We can't get there. We can't get in. We can't call them because they're not taking the calls." And then Light's dad apparently snuck out of his hospital room, took a police bus or police van, and just fucking drove through the front door.
Yeah.
As you will.
That scene, like, I was just like, "Oh, he's Detective Dojima." I see, right? Perfect.
Pretty much, yeah. He just fucking like, I don't know. He must have just gotten a rush of adrenaline because he just fucking like totally dominates this scene. So yeah, he like busts in like that. He comes in waving a gun around. Pretty much like threatens the dude who wanted to run the story in the first place. Because the guy's like, "Oh, Kira's holding us hostage. If we stop it, then he's gonna kill us all." And
I love how
takes out a gun and says, "Well, if you don't turn it off, I'm gonna shoot you dead right now."
I love how the TV reporter guy is the most stereotypical TV reporter looking dude ever too.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So yeah, they managed to get it taken off the air. But, because Ukita died right there and then a couple other cops died right out in the front, they're like, "All right, so how the hell is he going to get out of there without being killed?" Because obviously Kira's got eyes on the place. So they end up getting a whole fucking police like riot squad with multiple buses covering the building, and then a bunch of people with the big riot suits and shields and stuff just like blocking the entire view so that he can get out.
One thing I will say is like it's kind of crazy how the plot will just like shift like that on a dime. You'll be like, "Wait, what happened?"
Well, I think that's part of like it's also part of like the way the series was written, because Oba is very much a pantser. Like, they ride by the seat of their pants. Like, there's no planning with this series like there is an Attack on Titan. So like They might have like a week or two in advance figured out, but that's about it.
Yeah.
So, which is just makes the series that much more impressive with how well it all ties together.
Yeah, I do kind of understand why there is a specific volume that explains how to read the story, how to interpret the story.
Yeah. So they go through this whole. Oh wait. So yeah, they get the tapes back, and then we jump back to Light because up to this point, we've only been seeing the task force side of it, like them like seeing the program being aired and all that stuff being dealt with, getting the tapes. We finally go back to Light, and that's when they're like, "Oh, I'm not actually the one doing this. Somebody else is doing this."
Yeah, the reveal that there's a second Kira, and I was like, oh, interesting. The Netflix movie didn't do this.
Nope. No, they did not. So yeah, as they come to the conclusion, like, yes, this other person with a death note is going around doing this, and it's very obvious that they've done the ideal. So that's kind of an issue for him because he can already tell, like, just based on the broadcast in general, like, this guy isn't nearly as smart as L is.
Yeah.
Or as Light is, rather. So, like, it's very likely this guy's going to fuck up and get caught. And that will end up screwing Light over. So
yeah,
now he has another person to find.
Yeah, which he's very not happy about.
For sure.
This is like the first two volumes really make Light come out to be this really like stone-faced, like calm and collected guy, and then this volume's like, no, he's just as fucking unstable as everyone else in this universe.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where, like, even at the very beginning, like, even going back to the first chapter, I think, when Ryuk's giving him the whole rundown of the Death Note and how it works, he blatantly is like, and they, Light goes through his whole, like, oh, so there's no like catch to this, like there's no downside. And Ryuk says, not technically, but you will go through a fear and anxiety that only people who have the Death Note can understand.
Yeah.
And that just becomes more and more apparent as the series goes on.
Because I do love the fact
losing his mind.
I do love the fact that Ryuk's entire character is essentially like, oh yeah, I'm here to guide you, but at the same time too, if you're having a hard day, I'm gonna laugh in your face.
It's like, if you have a question about the rules, I'll explain it to you, but that's as far as my involvement goes.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, you're having a hard time? Oh, things are getting tough? Well, too bad, I'm gonna laugh in your face. Haha.
So we go back to the task force. L's explaining his theory about why he doesn't think this is actual Kira, that he thinks this is a second person. Because a lot of things just doesn't line up with Kira's MO. And then we finally jump to the second Kira in question. It's Pop Idol. 20-year-old
yes.
Pop Idol.
Yeah. Oh, she is 20. Okay. Thank God.
Yes. Yes.
I'm like, how?
They mention it in the story. She's 20 years old.
All right. I must have like missed that when I first read it because I was like,
well, it was like I think it was when Light was researching her and it had like her profile on the internet and it said how old she was.
I must have missed that. Okay. Okay, good. Because the artist really has fun with this character.
Yeah, well, actually, this character apparently was originally conceived and introduced only because, like, a bunch of feedback came back about the show. The show was doing really well, the series. A bunch of feedback came back though, just being like, "Sure, as a sausage fest, though, it'd be nice if we had a little eye candy," and that's essentially why this character came to be.
Boy, did he go all out with the eye candy? That's for sure.
Yeah, and they really like keeping up the gothic style with it too, because she definitely has that about her.
Well, I'm just like reading it and I'm like, okay, they're highlighting things. And then there's just one panel that's straight up just an ass shot. I'm like, yep, there we are.
Yep.
This character is obviously Misa. She's nothing like her Netflix counterpart.
No, actually, Misa and Light are pretty much flopped characters of Light and Mia in the Netflix series.
Yeah.
Their personalities are completely exchanged in either version.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm like, oh, well, I'm like, they really took some liberties, I see.
Yeah. So basically they bring Light in to try and figure out all this shit. And they like L says like he doesn't want Light to be told right away that they suspect the second Kira because they want to see if he'll come up with it on his own. And like partway through, Light's like watching the video and he's like, all right, if I just don't say anything, then the second Kira's plan will go forward and Light will have to appear, or L will have to appear on TV and he'll be killed. But like midway through watching the thing, he looks over and sees L staring at him. And he's like, fuck, he's expecting me to figure this out. Shit, I have to do it. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, they basically come up with this whole plan to create a fake quote unquote message from the real Kira, which of course L recruits Light to script.
Yep.
And basically the whole thing is just to try to bait out Misa.
I like how L
kind of giving away information.
Yeah. I like how L's entire character is basically like, he's like the epitome of like, keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Yeah, for sure. And in this case, it's kind of both kind of one of the same.
Yeah, it's unclear. It's very unclear.
But again, keep in mind, L is a liar.
True.
So, so yeah, they do that whole police response, and then Misa answers again and starts talking about Shinigami and magic eyes and shit on the video, and Light's like, fuck, I have to kill this fucker, like, now.
Yeah.
Because he is fucking me here. And even L kind of like loses it a little bit when Shinigami are brought up. But basically they come to the conclusion that it's that the biggest motivation for the second Kira is that he wants to meet the original. He wants to meet up and join forces and change the world together.
Yes.
So they got to keep trying to bait her out. And then we get a whole like side story about how Misa got the Death Note. About how there was a Shinigami in their realm who was just kind of watching her for some reason, and prevented a stalker from stabbing her to death the way it was supposed to happen. That was supposed to be her scheduled time to die. So, and that apparently is the explanation of like the only way to kill a Shinigami is to have them extend the life of a person that they love. Is the only way for them to die. Aside from just running out of time. But then they also say that when that Shinigami, Jealous, I believe is his name, when he died, supposedly the rest of his life got transferred to Misa. And I gotta wonder how that works.
Yeah.
Because the way Shinigami lifespans work is like when they kill someone with their death note, whatever time they had left gets added to the Shinigami's lifespan. So like, how much life did this dude have? Like, how many years did this dude have before that happened? Like, if he had like 300 years just kind of like squirreled away, like, is Misa's lifespan like 400 now?
Maybe. Depends
like,
on how.
I don't know. I mean, either way, she cut it in half for the eyes, but
True.
I just wonder what the logistics of that are. And I love how like as Rem, her Shinigami, is like about to explain that whole bit. Like Rem, like the first thing Rem says is, "Okay, don't tell anyone what I'm about to tell you." And then the second he's finished explaining the whole thing, she goes, oh, now I have a great thing to tell Kira when I meet him. It's just like instantly like, oh, okay. Well,
She
fuck me, I
seemed
guess.
Misa's character seems very confusing because I can't tell if she's serious or not half the time.
She's a Kira simp. That's what it is. She just simps over him.
Okay.
Um,
All right. I'll have to see how that goes as we read on.
So then she sent in a notebook that she wanted broadcast, and there's like the hidden message in it about like how to meet up and everything.
Hmm.
And I saw that one of the things here said, I heard they're coming out with something better than a PS2 called PSX. Wow.
Oh, what a weird reference.
Yeah. Just random. I happened to notice that. I was like, holy shit. Like, yep, this definitely came out in 2004.
Yep. You know what's bizarre though? The PSX was a thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it was a DVR that could play
Still
PS2
weird.
games, and it bombed in Japan.
That's about right.
If that's what they're referencing, what a weird reference.
But yeah, basically, like, Light looks at it, was like, okay, so we're supposed to meet up in Aoyama. And she puts on this like crazy disguise, which actually is really well done.
Yeah, all of Misa's appearances seems just to be like an excuse for the artist to just go to town.
Yeah. Actually, I really like this 2-page spread between chapters.
Oh yeah, this scene where I was like, damn, that art.
Yeah. It's just, man, the art in this series is just insane. And it's just another one of those cases where like the anime does do a very good job, but the art just does not hold a candle at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, blah blah blah. They make all sorts of plans. Light goes to Aoyama that day with Matsuda, and he doesn't actually see anybody there. But she's in her disguise, and apparently a rule we didn't know when it comes to the Shinigami eyes. You can't see the lifespan of somebody else who owns a Death Note. So that's how she's able to pick him out of the crowd and say, oh, that's him. Found him.
That's interesting, actually.
Well, apparently the explanation for it is that when a human takes ownership of a Death Note, they essentially assume the role of a Shinigami. And Shinigami can't see each other's lifespans. Like, that's like a thing. So like when you are essentially taking the mantle of a Shinigami, you have no need to know another Shinigami's lifespan. So that's like the explanation they have behind it. Then she stalks him on the internet and gets his address.
Oh, doxing. Wonderful.
Yep. She doxed him. And then she just shows up at his house.
Yeah. I mean, in any other manga, this would be really creepy and disturbing, but it's Light, so it's like, whatever. He's not a good person, so you really don't feel bad. You feel more bad for his family.
Yeah. And it's actually really funny too, because in like one of the previous, like just like a chapter or two before that, he like told a casual lie to his mom and sister that he had a girlfriend, and that was like his excuse.
Oh yeah,
because he was out with the task force. He didn't want to say that, so he just said, oh, I was hanging out with my girlfriend.
Convenient.
And then she shows up, and it's just like, oh, well, there she is, I guess.
Yeah, we'll make this work.
Yeah, right.
I like how she casually just like her way of being like, hi, it's me, is like she just pulls out her Death Note and is like, I got this. And he's like,
yep, check it out.
Okay.
So yeah, they have this whole conversation about like, why are you doing this? Why are you here? And she's like, oh yeah, well, my parents were killed by a burglar, and then you killed him after it looked like he was going to get off. So thanks. But like now I just am in love with you immediately for no reason.
Yeah, it's like the Netflix version just like skipped all of that important stuff and just cut right to that.
Pretty much. Yeah, she's not a bad girl cheerleader smoking a cigarette on top of the pyramid.
No, she's just a straight up yandere now.
Yep. She basically says like, I want to be your girlfriend. You can use and abuse me all you want. I don't care. You can even kill me if you feel like it. Like, wow, like that's
Yeah, I read that
like,
and I was just like,
holy
I was
shit.
like, I read that and my brain just went, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
I'm like, well, nobody in this manga is really is really a good person, so whatever, I guess.
I mean, she killed a lot of innocent people.
Yeah. So I was just like, okay, it's like two awful human beings. They're perfect for each other. Great.
Yep. But yeah, they go through this whole conversation about like, why are we doing this? What's going on? And he basically comes to the conclusion that she's actually smarter than he gave her credit for because she didn't take a lot of steps to, kind of protect herself a bit, even though ultimately it ends up being for naught. But yeah, he basically does the whole like, I'm gonna play both sides kind of situation. He'd be like, yeah, like I'm your boyfriend, but like we can't go out on dates or like spend any time together or anything. But I'm your boyfriend if you say I am, but I'm also gonna date other girls.
Yeah.
Which he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, she gives him a different phone because he doesn't want to have her number in his phone. For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And basically sends her off on her way. And
that kiss was very dramatic to the point where even Ryuk makes a big deal about it.
Yeah. Oh, and also Rem blatantly says, if she dies before her scheduled time, I will kill you.
Yeah.
So now she has that protection.
Yeah, because like Light even makes a point where he's like, well, shit. Like this, like I've kind of been a pickle.
He's
now.
like, fuck, now I can't kill L and I can't kill this bitch.
Yeah. He's like, great.
Oh, I also forgot to mention that there is a difference between the manga and the anime here. Okay. Whenever Light's hanging out at the task force, they made it a point to mention that Watari, the guy is like L's attendant. He only he doesn't actually show up there anymore when Light's there. He only like talks through the computer. And in the manga, the computer shows up with like the calligraphic L, like he was originally. And in the manga, they say like, oh, that's the other L. Like L is like a conglomerate of people, and like there is no one singular L, which is a lie. It is just the one L. But they didn't do that in the anime, to my knowledge. Just another one of those little details, like because they like for the most part the anime is pretty accurate, but there are like a few things that slip through the cracks. I just felt the need to bring that one up because that it's a smart thing to do, honestly. Oh yeah, then Light actually does research on her after she leaves. It's like, oh fuck, she's famous. Like that's even worse. She's an up and coming model. That's fantastic. And then we go back to Light in class, and the girl he's sitting next to is just like, hey, we're going out, right? And he's like, yeah, I'm totally into you. Sure. Pretty much. So yeah, pretty much instantly is like, yep, I am continuing to see other girls. Then Misa puts out another message on TV, and L instantly is just like, oh yeah, they met up. They're working together now. Even though the message said the exact opposite. He's just like, well, she wouldn't have even said that if that was true. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that this that we're fucked.
Yeah.
And then Misa stalks him some more because she keeps just showing up at his house.
Yeah. She's not subtle.
No, she's not.
Nobody is subtle in this goddamn manga.
She stands out in a crowd, that's for sure. And then Light pulls this whole like, oh, Rem, like you you love Misa and you want us to be happy. You want her to be happy, but she'll only be happy if I'm happy. So you should kill Elle for me.
He's such a piece of shit, and I kind of love it.
And he's so obvious about it. Like, but I mean, she already said like, "Oh, you can do whatever you want, and I don't give a shit." So it's one of those things where it's just like, yeah, I mean, he can afford to just be like straight up with what he wants.
Yeah.
But Rem agrees, and he's all happy about it. And then, like, literally the next day, Elle shows up at the school again, and it's just like, oh, by the way, I've decided I told everybody at the task force that if I die in the next few days, then they should just assume you're Kira. He's like, well, fuck, again with this shit? Like,
yeah. It's like one of those things where it's like,
go on.
It's just one of those things where it's like he can't win. Like nobody can win in this manga.
Nope, that's for sure. But yeah, they're just shooting this shit at the school, and who should show up but Misa again?
Yeah,
because she just can't fucking help herself.
Yeah.
And like at first, Light is really annoyed, and then he's like, "Wait, she has the eyes, so she can get his name for me." And he's all excited about that. And then a crowd starts to form around her because, again, she's famous.
Yeah.
And then she starts freaking out, like, "Oh my god, somebody just touched my butt." And Elle's like, "Oh, this is so horrible. I will catch the culprit. The great detective is on the case."
Yeah.
Which, it's not obvious at all what happened. But yeah. I just want to point out, like, the way the anime handles this scene is freaking hilarious. Because, like, when she says that, he looks so aghast. He, like, raises his hand up like this, like, like he's, like, freaking out. Like, he's being, really hams it up in that scene. That's why, honestly, like, you definitely should rewatch the series.
Yeah, it's on my list for this year.
Once we finish this, I think that would be good because a lot of the line deliveries, the way the music plays with like the drama of everything, it's as much as I love the manga, especially because of the art, like the anime is like an experience.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, her manager shows up and is like, "We got to go to our shoot. We got to go now." And as Light's walking away, he pulls out the phone to call her. And then Elle's pocket starts ringing. Because, yep, he's the one he swiped her phone. That's why she thought somebody touched her butt. And he's like, "Oh, isn't that interesting that you called her the second she walked away? I wonder why that would be." And then he gives the phone back, and then Elle's phone starts ringing. He answers it. Just, yeah, so Elle, I got some good news and bad news. The good news is we caught second Kira. Bad news is it's Misa.
Yeah.
So now you're even more under suspicion, and also she's captured. We're going to torture her. So that's fun.
Such a pleasant manga.
Yeah. And like the way they have her like strapped up here is just kind of disturbing.
I was like, when I got to the scene, I was like, what the fuck's even happening now?
Yeah. Especially when you get to the end and you see like how Light is confined. And like the difference between like, Light's just like in a cell.
Yeah.
And then you got Misa here and like fucking like bondage gear.
Yeah, that was a
like
a
what
choice.
The fuck? Yeah. But yeah, Light comes up with this whole plan because Rem is basically like, "Yeah, you got to save her, or I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah.
But Misa relinquishes ownership of the Death Note, so all her memories of the Death Note are gone.
Oh yeah.
And Light comes up with this whole plan, which we don't hear. We don't know the plan, but he came up with the plan. And then he shows up the task force, and he's just like, "Yeah, I might be killing people subconsciously as Kira, so you should lock me up until we can confirm or deny that is happening." And ultimately, Elle agrees. So now Light is in his little jail
Oh boy. Uh, and we're back. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's very windy today, and the power just decided to give up for a minute there, and I had to wait for all the routers to reset, so that was good.
Good times. Good times.
Oh yeah, very very windy today. Um, so I don't remember what I was saying.
We were talking about Light's in jail and they're planning something.
Yes, Misa's memory of the Death Note is gone. Light's in the jail cell, and basically he has like a keyword to tell Ryuk, and then that's pretty much where we get left off. Is they're both strapped in with no way to escape.
Yeah, one more physically than metaphorically.
Yeah. But how do you feel about this chunk of the story?
I feel like this was really building up to what's coming next.
It definitely was. It introduced a lot of different aspects to it, and there were a lot of twists and turns along the way. I mean, Light's dad having the heart attack,
Hmm.
Elle just randomly showing up at Light's school.
Yeah, it was really a lot of like they were introducing some important stuff that I'm sure will come into play later. Um,
Mhm.
there wasn't as many like big shocking moments like the first two volumes had though.
Mhm. Well, I think we'll have some more of those in the next one. I don't know how I want to split up the next one because I'd have to flip through my books and see like when certain because there's a certain thing coming up. It's gonna happen like immediately in the next volume,
Mm-hmm.
and like that kind of is like the beginning of another little mini arc. Um, but I don't know at what point in the books that wraps up. So it might end up being a little bit of um a bigger section to read next time. But
Gotcha.
so
Yeah. It's definitely interesting. It's just like it's a lot. Like it is
mhm.
definitely one of the more dense mangas you could read. It's I would not put it in the category of beginner manga. Um,
No, I'd say the anime is a good beginner anime if you like those kinds of like detective stories with like
hmm,
a hint of supernatural thrown in there. Um,
yeah,
the anime is very easy to follow along with if you're invested in it. The manga is very wordy. There's a lot going on.
yeah. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I believe our next manga journey, we're going back to Dragon Ball, because we're actually
Mhm.
planning a big month of Toriyama coming up pretty soon.
Yes, that's gonna be. When is this one coming out?
So this one will be out. I believe this is actually going to be. This is actually be the first April. This will come out on April Fool's Day.
Oh, okay.
That's
Um,
kind of funny.
okay, so we got like good like 3 or 4 episodes we gotta do we, before we
Before,
have to start recording the Toriyama stuff.
yeah,
Um,
okay,
we'll have to start figuring out what we want to do for all those.
yeah, but yeah. So in the meantime, guys, we have some ideas for next week's episode. We'll leave it in the dark for now, though, just in case something comes up. But yeah. In the meantime, once again, thank you for joining us on Geek Addicts. You can find Geek Addicts on all the major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcast and Spotify. And be sure to check us out over on the Superpod Network. That is superpodnetwork.com. It's an awesome site to find a whole bunch of different shows, videos, blogs. We're actually doing a series of blogs right now for different PlayStation games. I'm not sure, Matt, if you're contributing to that or not. Or
I have not slated anything for it yet, so
okay,
I don't know
um,
to at this point.
gotcha. I have a vlog that's written for that, so mine will be included. But yeah, be sure to check out that, and be sure to check out all the wonderful shows over on the Superpod Network. And with that, everybody, once again, thank you for joining us, and we will see you all later.
Have a good one.